Here with me now is Jonathan Broder. He covers defense and national security as a senior writer for Newsweek. Let's just talk about the events of the last few days because it's almost a head scratcher. It seems like a lot of saber rattling. And then today's conciliatory words from Pompeo and Iran. What do we make of all of this?
Well, you have to remember that American foreign policy is, there are three people involved that are at the center of it. There's Trump, there's John Bolton, and there's Mike Pompeo. Trump is, of course, the president. It's very, very difficult to know what his foreign policy doctrine is. If it's anything, I would say it's sort of a frugal hawk. The main questions he asks are, what's in it for us? How much is it going to cost? Can somebody else do it? Then you've got John Bolton, who's a unadorned hawk. I mean, he wants a regime change in Iran. He's very open about this. And then you've got Pompeo, whose job it is to sort of lend coherence to Trump's wild swings of policy, and to tamp down the fear factor that comes with Bolton's remarks. I mean, I compare Pompeo to the guy who walks behind the elephant in the circus with a shovel.
Well, you mentioned the frugal hawk. He also has a tendency, the U.S. president, sort of have a case of ADD. His foreign policy, one day it's all about the DPRK, that's not going well, let's move to this, Venezuela. It also kind of gyrates all over the place. So if you're Russia, or in the case of allies in Europe, you don't really know where they're going, do you?
No, you don't. And many people on Capitol Hill don't know where they're going either. It does gyrate back and forth. I mean, I think what you can say is that there are certain countries that where they have specific policies for. Iran is considered a rogue nation. They don't like Trump didn't like the nuclear agreement. He pulled out of it. He has said he would like to negotiate with them, but the conditions that he has put forward for negotiations are largely unacceptable to Iran. North Korea is also considered a rogue state, but because they have a nuclear weapon, they're given a pass, they're given a bit more maneuvering space within the negotiating process because they have a nuclear weapon.
But again, a lot of pressure. You got to get rid of your nuclear weapons, then we'll reduce the sanctions. This negotiating it always comes from a position of strength with the administration.
Yes, but again, the frugal hawk. In other words, he doesn't want to pursue policies that will cost the United States a lot of money, but he doesn't want to disappoint allies that don't want to see the United States totally withdraw from the state.
I've got about 45 seconds, and I want to hit on one final theme. Obviously, Pompeo going there after the Mueller report's done. Now perhaps a chance for a reset between the United States and Russia. That was perhaps his goal. It doesn't look like he was successful. What's your takeaway?
Well, as the correspondent just before us said, there are big differences between the United States and Russia on Venezuela and on Iran. The Russian foreign minister basically said that the conditions that the sanctions that the United States has placed on Iran are unacceptable. Venezuela, Russia is a close ally of Maduro. Has given them billions of dollars in aid on credit, of weapons, of financial aid. So they have a lot to work through to get to a better place. But the fact that Pompeo was over there meeting with him indicates that that's where I think this administration would like to go.
Jonathan Broder, always a pleasure having you in. Thanks so much for your insights.